Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to recreate a look I did back in 2018 using this water activated face paint that I got at Walmart for $4. We're going to start off by just tracing a border for where I'm going to lay the skull makeup. Then I'm going to come in with the makeup wipes and remove the makeup on the inside of that border we just created, just giving myself some fresh skin to lay a base on. Now I'm going to use some Elmer's glue. This one is washable. It's very important that you guys get washable. Lay my eyebrow down, just use this spoolie to flatten it out. You can't forget to laugh at yourself because you look ridiculous. But anyways, we're going to pick up the e.l.f. Camouflage Concealer in light beige. I'm going to start blending that out, starting over my eyebrow and then just working that into that whole bordered area where we're going to have the skull. I didn't choose white because I wanted to have more of a realistic feel. This one I feel like closely identifies with the bone color. That sounds kind of weird, but yeah. Now picking up a darker eyeliner tone, I'm going to start giving myself a border of what I want my skull to look like, just the teeth, where the bones are going to be, all of that stuff. Now dipping into that water activated makeup, we're going to start with the black and start outlining what I just laid down in my sketch. I'm not doing this precise or perfect at all, just because we're going to go in, we're going to add the fine details, make it look a lot more sharp afterwards. I'm picking up some black eyeshadow, just trying to get some of the shine out of the eye area, just make it look a little better. Grabbing this gel eyeliner, I was going to fill in this lower area here, but it was not nearly as black as I wanted, so I ended up picking up the water activated paint again and just filling it in as I would have. Grabbing a more detailed brush, it is finer at the tip, I'm just adding in some of those smaller details I want to capture along the skull. Just going very slow, starting off with the teeth outline. This one is never perfect when I start out with this, but it gives me a base to start on. I start adding in some cracks along the skull, just small ones at first. I add in some more later, just to make it look a little more realistic when we go back in and add a lot of shading and detail. I'm just adding in a few more details and then tracing over that with the black face paint as well. And then I'm grabbing the Jeffree Star Morphe palette and picking up that gray tone there, and I'm just going to start adding depth into those areas that we created. I feel like this is what brings the skull look together, is making sure you have depth. These shadows really create more of a realistic feel. When you look at a skull, you see a lot of different shadows and angles and edges. Throughout doing all of the shading and adding in depth, I am using some reference photos of real skulls, fake skulls, other artists' renditions, drawings, just to make sure I'm getting it as realistic as I can. I'm starting to shade above the teeth a little bit, just starting off with that gray shadow, bringing it up just slightly above the teeth to give it kind of that feel, not going too in depth at all, just laying down a base here. Right now I'm just kind of establishing a border from where my skin meets the skull. I wanted to cover up the hairline a little bit, create a little more depth, just bring it all together. Now coming in with a more precise brush, I'm grabbing the black tone from the Jeffree Star palette and I'm just going over the most inner portion of the shadow that we just laid, getting as close to the lines we laid down to give it more depth, make it look like the inside part is popping up and is almost 3D. The eye was still looking kind of shiny, so I went over it with some matte black eyeliner. This didn't help too much, but we're hopping back in with that water activated face paint and adding in a few more cracks along the border, just making sure it looks nice, and then adding white over the teeth. Picking up some more black shadow, we're going to add that around the teeth where we just set the white, just making sure it doesn't look too blocky on the white that we had added. And then we're going to go ahead and pick up an off-white color with this brush here. We're just going to streak that up from the tooth upwards to where we laid that black to give it more of a realistic effect. Not adding any more black to my brush, just taking whatever's left over. I'm going to add a tiny bit more of a structured line across the border. Coming in with the coagulated Ben Nye blood and this no name Amazon blood that's a little thick, and the stippling brush, I'm going to just start to add that over the border of the shadow that we created, just giving it kind of a nice difference from my skin to the skull. Grabbing the Smashbox gel liner, I'm just going to throw that in my waterline just to try to take away as much of my flesh colors that are popping out that I can, and adding in some mascara and falsies as well. Grabbing more of the gray shadow, we're going to add in a little bit more depth, anything that I feel like could use just a tad bit more, sprucing it up a little bit. I had so much fun creating this look. I thought it was creative. Everyone does skulls, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't do a couple more and add it to the art world. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys in the next one. Happy Halloween!